There comes a time in life when you can no longer outrun the truth. The person you have been is not enough to carry you into the future you desire. That moment of truth is here. The old version of you, built on outdated habits, old stories, and comfortable excuses, has reached its limit. It can't climb higher. It can't run faster. It can't dream bigger. The truth is harsh, but it's also freeing. Because if the old you has reached the ceiling, then it means it's time to build a new version. One that shatters every limit that once held you captive. Think about it. Every cycle in nature evolves. Seasons change, rivers carve deeper paths, even mountains shift over time. Why should you be the only thing that remains the same? The same doubts, the same fears, the same routines, the same broken promises to yourself. You've worn that version of yourself long enough. It's time to strip it away and step into something new, something greater. You know the old version of you well. It whispers reasons to quit. It tells you tomorrow will be the day. It convinces you that mediocrity is good enough. But deep down, you've always known that's a lie. You feel it when you're alone, when the distractions fade, when the noise dies down. A voice inside says, "Isn't it? This isn't all there is. You're capable of more." That's the voice of the new version of you calling out. This isn't about waiting for the right moment or the perfect conditions. The truth is, the right moment will never come. Conditions will never be perfect. The power lies in your decision to begin right now. The shift doesn't start when life gets easier. It starts when you finally decide you're done living small, done living scared, done living beneath your true potential. The hook of this transformation is simple. You can't bring the old you into the future you want. They are incompatible. The old version will sabotage the vision, weigh it down, and drag it back into the pit of average. Only the new version can rise to meet what's waiting for you. And that means today, in this very moment, you must decide to shed the skin of the past and step boldly into the future. Transformation doesn't come from polishing the surface of your old self. You don't evolve by making small adjustments to the same identity. Real transformation is radical, complete, uncompromising. It's not about improving the old version of you. It's about creating an entirely new identity, one that aligns with the future you envision. The old version of you was designed for survival. It settled for comfort, it tolerated excuses, it adapted to limitations. But the future demands more. The future demands a version of you that isn't shackled by fear, that doesn't bow to distraction, that refuses to accept mediocrity. To rise into that version, you must be willing to let go of the familiar identity that has kept you grounded. This identity shift isn't about pretending. It's not about faking confidence or forcing positivity. It's about reprogramming how you see yourself. Because the way you see yourself determines what you do. If you see yourself as weak, you will act weak. If you see yourself as average, you will settle for average. But when you begin to see yourself as disciplined, powerful, capable, and unstoppable, your actions will rise to match that identity. It all starts with a decision to reject who you were and embrace who you must become. This isn't a costume you wear for a day. This is a permanent upgrade, a new identity written into your DNA. And once you claim it, you'll realize you are no longer the same. The shift has begun, and nothing can pull you back to the old version unless you let it. The difference between who you are and who you are destined to become is measured by one thing: standards. Not goals, not wishes, not dreams, standards. Because goals can be postponed, wishes can fade, and dreams can be forgotten. But standards are the lines you refuse to cross, the boundaries you will not break, the expectations you hold yourself to every single day. The old version of you had flexible standards. They've been under pressure, shifted with moods, and disappeared when things got hard. That version accepted less than excellence and called it good enough. But the new version of you cannot live that way. It doesn't negotiate with laziness. It doesn't tolerate mediocrity. It doesn't make excuses for inconsistency. The new version of you sets standards so high that they force growth. They demand accountability. They pull greatness out of you even when you don't feel like showing up. Standards are the invisible contracts you make with yourself. They dictate how you eat, how you work, how you speak, how you show up for the people you love. If your standards are low, your life will reflect that. If your standards rise, your life will elevate with them. Everything around you begins to shift the moment you decide what you will and will not accept from yourself. Think about it. Champions don't rise because they want victory. They rise because their standards don't allow anything else. Leaders don't inspire because they seek admiration. They inspire because their standards require them to operate at a level that others cannot ignore. You don't get what you want in life. You get what your standards demand. The new version of you understands this truth deeply. It's no longer satisfied with almost. It's no longer impressed with effort without results. It's no longer willing to trade long-term vision for short-term comfort. The new you operates from the principle that excellence is not optional. It's the baseline. And when you live from that level, when you hold yourself to that measure, the extraordinary becomes inevitable. This is the moment you redefine the rules of your life. What do you refuse to tolerate? What do you demand from yourself every day? What is the lowest level of effort, discipline, and consistency you are willing to accept? Your answers to those questions will shape your destiny. Because the truth is simple. Life doesn't give you what you dream of. It gives you what your standards require. And the new you, the version you are stepping into, demands nothing less than greatness. The turning point in any transformation is ownership. Until you take full responsibility for your life, nothing changes. You can dream, you can plan, you can even work hard, but if you continue to shift the blame, point fingers, or wait for someone else to rescue you, you will remain stuck in the same cycle. Ownership is the dividing line between the old version of you and the new version of you. The old you gave away power every time it blamed circumstances. It said things like, I don't have the time. Or it wasn't given the opportunity, or it's just not fair. Every excuse handed over authority to something outside of yourself. Every complaint changed you to a life you didn't want, but continued to tolerate. But the new version of you refuses to live as a victim of circumstance. It reclaims power by saying, if it is to be, it's up to me. Taking ownership doesn't mean that everything is your fault. Life will bring storms you didn't invite, challenges you didn't expect, and pain you didn't cause. Ownership doesn't deny those realities. It chooses how to respond to them. The new you understands that while you can't always control what happens, you can always control your response, your mindset, and your actions. That control is where true power begins. When you embrace ownership, excuses die. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. You stop waiting for people to understand your vision. You decide that no matter what stands in your way, you will rise to the occasion. Ownership is about saying, I'm the author of my story. If the chapters so far have been filled with struggle and mediocrity, then I will write the next chapter differently. And here's the truth. Ownership is freedom. At first it feels heavy because you realize no one is coming to save you. But soon it becomes empowering because you recognize you don't need anyone else to save you. You have the pen. You have the power, you have the ability to create change. The moment you accept that everything in your life is either something you created or something you allowed, you begin to see the possibility of writing a new reality. The new version of you doesn't run from responsibility, it runs toward it. It runs toward it. It stands tall and says, if I succeed, it's because I earned it. If I fail, it's because I allowed it. Either way, it's on me. That level of honesty may sting at first, but it forces growth, and growth is the birthplace of transformation. Ownership is the soil where discipline, vision, and greatness grow. Without it, nothing takes root. With it, everything becomes possible. The new you is not waiting for luck, not hoping for breaks, not depending on sympathy. The new you is building a life brick by brick, day by day, through choices, through action, through complete responsibility. And that kind of ownership makes you unstoppable. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the currency every dream requires, the foundation upon which the new version of you must be built. Without discipline, desire remains fantasy. Without discipline, vision stays trapped in your imagination. Discipline is the force that transforms intention into reality. The old version of you treated discipline as optional. It relied on motivation, waiting for the right mood, waiting for the right burst of energy, waiting for the perfect timing. But motivation is fleeting, fragile, inconsistent. It shows up when it wants to and disappears when you need it most. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't care if you're training, doesn't care if it's raining, doesn't care if no one is watching. Discipline shows up every single time because it is not about feeling. Discipline is a promise you make to yourself and refuse to break. It's waking up when the alarm rings, not when you feel like it. It's finishing the work when distractions scream for your attention. It's training your mind and body to obey the standards you've set, even when every part of you wants to quit. Discipline is the muscle of transformation, and the more you use it, the stronger it grows. The new version of you thrives on discipline. It doesn't avoid hard work, it embraces it. It doesn't resent repetition, it masters it. It doesn't shrink from sacrifice, it understands that sacrifice is the price. Discipline turns pain into progress. It takes every setback and uses it as fuel to push forward. It forges consistency out of chaos, order out of excuses, strength out of weakness. There will be days when discipline feels heavy, when the temptation to return to the old you feels overwhelming. But those are the exact moments where transformation is born. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you weaken the grip of the old self and strengthen the identity of the new self. Discipline is not punishment, it is liberation. It frees you from regret, from inconsistency, from the pain of a what if. Understand this. Talent can impress, opportunity can open doors, luck can give you a moment, but only discipline will sustain you. It is the thread that ties together every victory, the force that keeps you moving long after others have quit. Discipline is not glamorous, it is not loud, but it is undefeated. The new you knows this truth and lives by it. Discipline is no longer a chore, it becomes your way of life. And when discipline takes root, momentum follows. Progress becomes inevitable. Success becomes predictable. The new version of you is not defined by bursts of effort, by daily discipline that compounds into greatness. This is the power that turns impossible into possible, into possible into inevitable. Vision is the compass of the new version of you. It is the clear picture of where you're going, the unshakable image of what your life must become. Without vision, discipline has no direction. Without vision, effort has no purpose. Without vision, you wander aimlessly, working hard, but never moving closer to what you were meant to be. Vision is not just about seeing the future, it's about creating it. The old version of you lived by feeling. It moved when it felt inspired, stopped when it felt tired, and quit when it felt pressure. But feelings are unstable. They shift like the wind, leaving you at the mercy of moods and circumstances. The new version of you cannot be led by feelings. It must be led by vision. Vision doesn't change with the weather. Vision doesn't crumble under pressure. Vision is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark of motivation is gone. Vision gives discipline its fuel. When you know what you're building, every sacrifice becomes easier. Every late night, every early morning, every ounce of sweat and struggle finds meaning in the bigger picture. Vision turns obstacles into stepping stones because you see beyond the present moment. You know the fight isn't about today, it's about the tomorrow you refuse to give up on. And vision is not passive. It's not daydreaming or wishful thinking. Vision demands clarity. It requires you to see every detail, to imagine it so vividly that it becomes more real than your current reality. The new you holds on to that image until it begins shaping your thoughts, your choices, your actions. Vision programs your behavior, and your behavior builds your future. The world is full of people who had talent but no vision, energy but no direction, ambition but no clarity. They chased everything and caught nothing. The new you is different. You know exactly what you're after. You know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it will mean when you finally hold it in your hands. That clarity makes you unstoppable because when you can see the destination, the process no longer scares you. The truth is simple. If you don't have a vision for your life, someone else will give you theirs. If you don't decide where you're going, the world will decide for you. But when you carry a vision inside you, burning, undeniable, unshakable, you walk with purpose, you speak with conviction, you act with power. The new version of you lives by vision. You no longer ask, can you declare it must happen? And when vision takes over, every move, every choice, every step lines up with the future you've already seen. That is how the impossible becomes inevitable.